Drip, drop, drip, drip, drop. Where's that coming from? I've been in this dark, cold place for hours, days even. Can't see a thing. My only hints were from my other senses. The floor was cool and smooth beneath me, probably tile. There were almost inaudible noises from the outside walls that surrounded me. A small amount of light from what I assumed to be a door was all I had, but it didn't help much. The smell was horrid, but I couldn't scrunch my nose. It was completely frozen, I assumed out of fear. I'd been unable to move ever since I had woken up here, however long ago it was. Drip, drip, drip. The noise became annoying. Besides the hushed whispers and movement that came from somewhere beyond the door, it was the only sound. Maybe if it would just die down, I could sleep to pass the time. Maybe I'd simply be able to think straight. Drip, drip, drip. It sounded thick. It definitely wasn't water. Glue, maybe? That wouldn't make much sense. Does glue even drip that long before it hardens? After 391 drops of the unknown liquid later, a sound startled me. It sounded familiar, like I'd know it anywhere. A voice? Yes, definitely a voice. It got louder as it got closer. There were two sets of footsteps. One of them tapped loudly, most likely a woman in heels. I tried to recall something, anything that put me here. Anything that could give me an idea of who I was, where I was. What was that ghastly dripping noise? Though I am indeed paralyzed, I can still feel. It felt like I was wearing a long, thin sweater or coat. Soft, but not fluffy. There's something smooth and metallic poking in my chest area. Though not painful, it will most likely become after a little while. A click sounded, and light flooded the small room from the outside. My vision was severely clouded and blurry, so I couldn't make out many details. There were two individuals standing in the doorway. One man and probably a woman. Drip, drip, drip. The woman screamed suddenly. I'm surprised I didn't flinch. The light was flicked on by the man. The light blinded me for a moment. I wish I could blink to help my eyes adjust. Everything was still extremely blurry, but at least I could see now. All the walls and ceiling are white, bright rectangular lights embedded within the ceiling. There was a piece of furniture to my right, but I can't really tell what exactly it was. The man also began yelling loudly, snapping me from my mediocre analysis of my surroundings. This room that I'd been in for what felt like years. It was weird, very familiar. Both people were ecstatic, the woman crying, the man yelling loudly into a phone. I wanted to get up, to help the dear woman with whatever she was so distressed about. Why, though? Who is she? I know she's important to me. But how? Who is she to me? I need to get out of this uncomfortable position. Why am I still unable to move? The blasted sound continued. Drop, drip, drop. Make it stop. Please make that dreaded sound stop. I tried to drown it out by focusing on the man's conversation, but it soon got lost when many others entered the small room. It buzzed with surprised shrieks and wails. The noise continued to taunt me as I was lifted and carried away. Drip, drip, drip. My eyes were shut now. It was finally quiet, very peaceful. I had been a bit confused over the last few days. The experiences were fairly strange. I repeatedly saw two people who would do work on me that I guess I wasn't allowed to see. Every time my eyes would fall open, they would manually close them once again. They used multiple tools, including scalpels and varying chemicals. It kind of tickles at times, but I was unable to laugh. Now there was no sound, no light. I lay on my back, atop a cushioned surface. I was completely comfortable. Now would be the perfect time to let myself finally get some much-needed rest. let my mind slip into a calming bliss. She couldn't step up to the casket. It'd be too painful to look upon his dead features. 4 days prior was when he was found. Her dear husband, a well-known doctor, one of the kindest men you'd ever meet. Their son sat beside her, crying. He was only 10 years old. She couldn't bring herself to tell her son how his father had gone. He was found in his office. Blood was everywhere. His head faced the door, wide-eyed, as his lifeless body laid on the white, stained, red tile floor. His chest was ripped open. The attack was undoubtedly violent. His organs were sprawled around, littering the counters and hospital bed. They still dripped blood despite the autopsy later confirming that he'd been dead for multiple days. It looked like an animal attack. The foul noise continued. Drip, drip, drip.